Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, lawyer up. Tune into the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, lawyer up. Hello. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome. This is Steve Okoraha, and you're on Lawyer Up with Steve O. I'm your host, Steve Okoraha, as I've mentioned. And we have a great show for you today. We have a lot of great information. Of course, we've been providing you with a lot of very helpful, very informative information about what's going on in the community. And of course, information to help better your lives. And that's exactly what this show is about. It's to help hopefully keep you out of trouble and of course, help you advance your life in some way, shape, or form. What this show is about is basically giving you a lot of different legal advice in different realms of law. I practice a lot of different types of law, primarily business and contracts, family law, traffic tickets, and estate planning. But I also do a little bit of other things. So I like to think I'm a jack of all trades. But a lot of heavily what I do is business contracts and family law. But that doesn't stop me from being able to give you advice and help you stay out of trouble and be able to help yourself and avoid a lot of legal pitfalls so that you don't have to need to call me or any other lawyer that you happen to encounter. So what we have here is a very special show, and we are talking about identity theft and scams and how to avoid them. Of course, as you guys know, with the pandemic, a lot of us have been at home. We're doing a lot of online shopping. We're getting a lot more calls from creditors and people wanting to sell you stuff, people wanting to give you a deal. You're getting a lot of emails and things like that. This show is basically to help you sift through all of that and help you understand exactly what's a scam and what's not, how to protect yourself, what you should do when, if you're a victim of it, and just things to look out for. Things to look out for so that you can avoid having your identity stolen or having one of these scams, perpetrated against you. So that is our show for today. Please be sure to comment in the comments if you're watching on Facebook, and of course share this video with your friends and family. This is going to be some very important information. Definitely, help somebody by sharing this video with them, and hopefully they can get the information that they need. So we're going to dive right into it, but first, I know you're wondering if, how safe you are with these scams, but we have to cut to a quick commercial break, so we'll be right back, and then we'll dive right in. So stay tuned.
Our new house is amazing. Great street, huge yard.
There is a bit of an issue with our neighbor's fencing. At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
Which helps us save even more.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Peter.
Touche.
What? Tongue down.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
If you like this video, please share it.
And hit the subscribe button to watch more great Geico videos if you... Hey, guys, can you please watch the begonias? Just planted those.
Sorry.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I told you guys it would be a short break. Now we're back. Of course, this is Lawyer Up with Steve O. I'm going to give you some information about what exactly identity theft is, because we are going to fight this and hopefully give yourself enough information to arm yourself against all of these scams and things that happen so you don't become an unfortunate victim. So, what is identity theft? It's a crime that occurs when your personal and financial information is accessed and used without your permission. And here is a very key stat for those living in Texas like myself. Texas is one of the top states for identity theft. It is fourth in the nation for the highest rate of reported cases, and this is mainly because of our large population. Houston is the fourth largest city in the country. Dallas, I think, is somewhere on the top 10 as well. So it's only right that criminals would target those with a large population. So that's why there's a lot of highly reported cases in Texas. Just one stat to throw out at you. It's 130.3 victims per 100,000 people in this state. So for every 100,000 people, there are at least about 130 victims, just to give you kind of a little percentage there. And the sophistication of the crimes are increasing. So whereas most people think that someone may just come up and talk to you, or they might call you, they're getting a lot more sophisticated. They're coming in your emails. They're jumping up as ads on your tablet. They're coming up as videos that you need to click on, or fake emails on your phone. I mean, there's a lot more complexity going on with these scams, and the scammers are smart. They find tricky ways to make themselves look legitimate, and therefore get exactly the information they need to potentially steal from you. So how does identity theft occur? Identity thieves often get your information from the trash you throw away. It can come from bank statements, credit card applications, or corporate databases, stolen checks, or even hackers on the internet gaining access to your files on your home computer. So if you don't have the proper software on your computer, your phone, your laptop, your tablet, criminals often exploit those devices and try to find ways in order to steal this information. So it's very important that you have the right software on your computer that protects against this. Also using VPNs, things like that, things of that nature. There's quite a bit of complexity into it. Just make sure that your devices are protected. And of course, if you're throwing away information that's important, old credit cards, expired debit cards, just make sure to shred them, scatter the pieces, shred very important documents. Anything that has your social on it, make sure you're shredding that and you're putting that away. Many happen through phishing emails. Now, what is a phishing email? Phishing email is an email that looks very legitimate. It may come from a company or a vendor that you patronize. Let's just say, for instance, Amazon. They send you an email. It looks like it's from Amazon, but it's not. Oftentimes, it'll end up in your junk mail folder. But even if it doesn't, it will say something to the effect of, you bought something for $399. We just want to verify the information, and if you did not, then please give us a call so that we can go ahead and rectify the information. However, a lot of those emails tend to be fake because they're asking you to give them information when you think you're just helping Amazon take away a charge that really doesn't exist. And the phishing emails come in a lot of different forms, but a lot of the times it looks legitimate. It looks like it's from the company that they say they are, but really it's not. So main thing would be to make sure that your junk mail settings are legitimate, they're set up the right way so that your junk mail can find those and put those in the junk mail folder. And also check the email addresses. A lot of the email addresses will have random letters and numbers. It won't necessarily say exactly the company that it's supposed to be from, but the rest of the email will look, just like what it's supposed to look like. And then once you click the link, it's all over. They can either put some kind of malware, spyware on your device, and then they can have access to your personal information. Okay, so the other types of identity theft. Two main types, two biggest types. Financial identity theft, which is they create new fraudulent financial relationships to hurt your established credit, like trying to get a new credit card account or loans in your name. I personally have had this happen to me. I had someone steal my identity, and they had credit cards with gas stations, they had credit cards with Victoria's Secret, they had credit cards with different banks, and they just went to town. You know, I'm not sure exactly how they would have got that information, but usually the type of identity theft that happens is to gain access to some sort of finances, whether it be, you know, trying to get a loan or a credit card in your name. That's really the most common. The other type that is also financial is mortgage fraud. It's the fastest growing type of identity theft, and it's where criminals will obtain a mortgage in your name, take the money once they get the mortgage, and then default, which sets you up for foreclosure and possibly eviction. They may also offer to help pay, but this should be a clue as to the scam they are setting up. So if you ever have anyone wanting to rent or purchase real estate in your name, and they say that they're going to pay, that you don't have to worry, you're doing some kind of, you know, investment or something going on, just see that as a red flag. You know, if you're not responsible for the payments, well, if you are responsible for the payments and someone else is paying, that always sets you up to be the one that has to take the fall. Now, whether or not you get foreclosed on or an eviction on your record, both of those are not good. It can impact, you know, things that you want to do in the future. So make sure you look out for that as well. Second type of identity theft is criminal identity theft, and it's giving your identifying information to an officer instead of their own, which links you to a crime on your record, and it affects you applying for a job, a line of credit, or a loan, and even a warrant for your arrest. Now, I actually have had this happen to my clients several times. Of course, as you know, I do traffic tickets. So I've had several clients say, "Hey, Steve, I have this speeding ticket, but I didn't do it." And I'm like, "What do you mean you didn't do it?" They say, "No, I wasn't in the car. I don't ever remember getting a ticket. On this day that they said that I got the ticket, I never got the ticket. Someone took my car, or my relative had been driving, or a friend of mine had been driving who is now an ex-friend, and they gave them my driver's license and my insurance, so they think it's me." This is very difficult to now fight, and hopefully you don't get put in this situation, because having the burden to prove that it was not you will be pretty difficult. Now, if they have body cam footage, which in a lot of traffic cases they do, then they could show exactly who the individual was that got pulled over, and then you can show yourself, be able to prove who you are, and hopefully that gets thrown out in court. But you don't want to have that happen to you. So in the event that you're letting someone else drive your car, make sure that you keep your identifying information to yourself. Of course, you should keep a copy of the insurance in the vehicle in the event that they do get pulled over. But in terms of ID, passports, driver's license, stuff like that, just make sure you keep that to yourself. And of course, just don't leave it in the car. If you don't let people drive your car, just don't leave it in the car as a good measure, just in case your vehicle may get stolen and they want to drive all over everywhere, just so that you can show that that wasn't you. Other types of identity theft, there's Social Security theft, there's IRS income tax fraud, and basically the goal is to obtain disability, workman's comp, or health benefits. So this is a typical scam that criminals go after the elderly for. Unfortunately, you know, this happens way too often to the elderly and their disability benefits, their Social Security benefits, their, you know, any other type of benefits. It gets taken from them with this type of scam. So your Social Security number is the most important financial identifying tool that you have, that a criminal is going to use to now get some type of funds that you're entitled to. And then lastly, children's Social Security numbers. You got to make sure, for those that have kids, make sure that you hide those, because children are often easy targets for identity theft. They don't typically have credit yet, they don't have any type of accounts, and that social is just not being used. So if you have kids and you have their socials, make sure it's in a locked location or somewhere where you know where it is and no one else can find it. I personally have my kids' Social Security cards in a locked safe. So I make sure that it stays there and no one can have access to it, because you want to make sure that your kids' credit, their identity, their criminal record is all intact, so when they reach the age of 18, that they don't have any of these issues, coming up. You don't want to set them up to have a lot of issues when they reach adulthood. So, how do you know if you are a victim of identity theft? Identity theft is a unique crime because the victim may not know it has occurred until long after the fact. But to catch identity theft early, be on the lookout for the following things: unauthorized purchases on bank accounts or credit cards. If you see something that looks funny, say something. Even if you don't remember buying it and it really was a legitimate purchase, or you say, hey, I go to Costco every weekend, I think it was legitimate. No, if you don't remember, just tell the bank, hey, this is illegitimate. I don't think it was me. That way, you're making sure that you're being proactive about looking at charges on your credit cards and your debit cards. Bills from unauthorized credit accounts. So if you get a bill from Capital One and, for a credit card bill, and you've never had a credit card with Capital One, then something has happened. Someone maybe opened up an account that is not yours, but the bank or the financial institution found you. So that's when you should go and tell them, hey, this is not me. Please close this account. I have, the evidence to prove it. Missing bank statements and credit card statements. If you typically get your bank statements or credit card statements by mail and they're missing, or you get them by email and maybe you didn't get it, call and check with your financial institution to make sure that they sent it to the right address. If not, then that also leaves you open to someone else seeing that information. It's very private, very confidential information, and that's something that could also expose you to identity theft. If you are turned down for a credit card or a loan that you think you should be able to receive. This happens all the time. You walk into a bank, you say, I want to get a credit card. Your credit, before you walked in there, you thought was stellar. You thought it was really good. You thought it was maybe high 700s, maybe even low 700s, but at the end of the day, you thought you should not be denied for it, and then you get denied for it. And you've never had an issue getting a loan or a credit card. This is a sign that maybe something is happening. You'll need to check, what's been going on with your credit to see if there's any unauthorized activity going on. And finally, as I stated earlier, any unauthorized accounts on your credit report. It's important to constantly check your credit report periodically. I wouldn't say every day. There are apps that allow you to check your credit score on a daily basis. Credit reports are a little bit more difficult to get, and it can sometimes get costly if you check it too much. But your credit report is mainly something you need to review, periodically as you can, to make sure that nothing out of the ordinary has appeared. Now, this is the best way for you to view if anything fishy has happened, if someone has gotten a loan in your name, someone has gotten a mortgage in your name, someone has gotten a car in your name, or anything. You can easily find out what's there. The three credit bureaus, as you know, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, those are the three bureaus that keep records of all of this, and everything you do in terms of your finances gets reported to them. Your mortgage payments, your car loans, your any type of loan or credit that you have always gets reported to these bureaus. So you want to make sure you check your credit reports and make sure that there is no fishy activity going on. All right, so that was quite a bit of information. Just remember that these things are to help you and help you avoid some of these things happening to you. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself and things you can be proactive about that can help you avoid identity theft, and not just know when you're in it, but to say, hey, this is something that's a little bit fishy. I may not want to do that. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, pay some bills. We will be right back.
watching a great show on Boss Up Houston Network. Have you heard? They're bossing up, okay? And I heard they're looking for you. Any podcasters, talk show hosts, if you're a writer or producer, we definitely need you. Come aboard and boss up.
Are you a small business owner that is struggling to promote your company?
Our topic today is, what's your status?
Shoot the dice at this point.
You just shoot the dice. Roll the dice.
So,
yes.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's attorneys.
I love it.
Imagine being televised on a national platform. How about being a host or sponsor on a syndicated podcast? Or being featured on exclusive promotions and interview for your product to your ideal customer? Hi, I'm Kayla Sneed, and I'm head of sales with Boss Up Houston. And here at Boss Up, we like to help small business owners and entrepreneurs advertise, promote, or become a sponsor for one of our television, podcast, or radio shows. All you have to do is click the link down below to see if you qualify. I'll be seeing you soon.
This is Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is your host, Steve Okoroha, and we're on Lawyer Up with Steve O. We're going to get right into how to protect yourself from identity theft. We're talking identity theft and scams, all the ins and outs, the ups and downs, but mainly this is to give you information to help you out and to help you avoid these things. So you ask yourself, Steve, how do I protect myself? While there's no guaranteed way to prevent thieves from stealing your identity, there are several things you can do to make it harder for them. Keep any personal or financial information in a safe and secure place. If you do not need it, shred it. It's very important. Like I told you, any documents that you need to discard, make sure you shred it. Make sure you cut it up. That old driver's license, that old debit or credit card, make sure you shred it, scatter the pieces. Just make sure that it gets destroyed. Shred any credit card statements, credit card applications, bank statements, bills, or any other pieces of mail that may have identifying information or account information contained in them. And that includes maybe your current statements as well. If you don't get digital statements as a PDF sent to you by your financial institution, that's fine. If you're old school and you want to have files, in a file folder somewhere, just make sure that it's a secure place. But if you are one of those that gets it, you just want to look at it real quick and you say, hey, I don't need this, I don't want to keep this paper, make sure you shred it, make sure you dispose of it correctly and not just like any other trash. It's very important trash, so make sure it gets destroyed properly. Memorize your driver's license number, your social security number, PIN numbers, and passwords instead of carrying them. Now, I know this may be difficult for some of you, but the more you're able to memorize these numbers, the less likely it is that you're able to lose them if you're carrying them, maybe written in your wallet, in your purse. You don't want to have these lying around so that in the event that you lose them, any criminal has access to do whatever they want with them. And all of those numbers are very important, so just make sure if you can't memorize them that you find some way to store them in a way that's not easy for you to get lost. Shield your hand when entering PIN numbers or signing receipts. Very important. You don't want people kind of looming over you at the grocery store or the gas pump, so just make sure, put your hand over the keypad just so that people don't see what numbers you're putting in. You'd be surprised how much a lot of people may or may not be watching you when you do that. And then, of course, same thing with your signature. It's easy for criminals to be able to sign loan documents and credit card applications when they know exactly what your signature looks like. So if you are signing a document and you're in a public place, just make sure to put your hand there. Don't worry about offending someone next to you or even the person that's asking you to sign it. You just need to make sure you're protecting your information. When creating passwords or PIN numbers, do not use easily obtainable recognizable numbers, such as family names or birthdays. Criminals always go to your background and who you're related to, where you live, These are the types of things that they use to try to guess what your password or your PIN is. If you live at 1234 Evergreen Terrace, then they're going to try 1234 in a combination of different numbers to try to get your password. A lot of times we use common numbers and names like that so that we can remember it easily, but guess what? That criminal is also thinking the same thing, because a lot of us, we don't like complex passwords because we usually forget them. So they're thinking on that same wavelength too. So it's important that you use something that's not as easily obtainable. Take all credit card receipts and ATM slips and shred them. Better yet, if you're at the ATM and you don't need that slip at the end that tells you what your balance is, just hit that button that says you do not want a receipt. It's much better. I know you want to see how much is in your account. Make sure that deposit went through. Make sure that check went in correctly. But that piece of paper is something that's very easy for criminals to now access and try to gain access to that account that you have. So if you must have that printout, or if you do get that credit card receipt from when you make a purchase, make sure you shred it. If not, just make sure it's digital and it goes either to you as a text message or to your email. Do not put any unnecessary information on your checks, such as your date of birth or your driver's license number. Now, I don't see a lot of instances of this, but I have seen people put their driver's license on their checks. That is very dangerous, because you're putting a lot of identifying information that other people can see. Now, even if it's with a financial institution, there's still someone else looking at it. So you have to be very paranoid in a sense to make sure that you're only putting information down that on that check that is necessary for you to conduct that transaction. Do not have new checks delivered through mail. Instead, pick them up at your bank. Now, I'm guilty of this. I do have new checks mailed to me in a secure folder. However, I do understand that it would be a lot easier to pick them up at your bank, but not every bank allows you to pick them up at the bank. A lot of times they outsource the printing of their checks. So they say, just have it shipped to your house. You can ask them, just say, hey, can I have them shipped here, because I don't want them shipped to my house. I trust it coming here so that I can pick them up here. They shouldn't have a problem, but if they do, maybe you're not at the right bank. But just make sure that if you're having it shipped to you, that you be careful with that. And if maybe it gets lost or something, then you know that you maybe shouldn't have those checks, or you should try to get those checks at your financial institution. Only make purchases at secure websites on the internet. Now, it is often difficult to know what a secure website is. There's a lot of things that may look legitimate, but there is a way that you can look into in your browser, that HTTP. If there's an S at the end, usually that means it's secure. You'll also see different identifiers on the website that show it's secure. Usually your browser will tell you if you are looking into a website that may not be legitimate. If you do get that notification that it may not be legitimate, make sure that you check and recheck the address that you're trying to go to, so that you make sure that you're using the right website and not Amazonia.com or something weird, Don't enter your personal information on pop-up ads or other unsecure websites. This is important because a lot of those pop-up ads are going to be very attractive. They're specifically tailored to show you exactly what you typically shop for, and they have been tracking that so that they can show you this ad of something that you really want, and then once you click that information, provide them with your information, they got what they need. So be very careful with those pop-up ads. Don't give out your information over the telephone to unknown or unauthorized callers. Now, I'm going to go into this a little bit because this is probably the biggest scam that is going on right now are these telephone scams and these telemarketers. They will call you and they will ask you to give a lot of personal information over the phone. It is always a bad idea to do that. Only give it to people that for sure are going to represent that company that they say they are. If they start asking for social security numbers, even if it is a legitimate company that you typically work with, if it's Bank of America or Chase, just say, I'm uncomfortable giving that information over the phone. Is there another way that you can verify me or send me something so that I can verify my identity that way? They would be glad to do that. They will understand that you want to do that. It's all about protecting yourself. You should never feel ashamed of doing so. And lastly, request a credit report from each of the credit bureaus at least once a year to check for any fraud. Yes, this is what I stated before the break. Make sure you monitor your credit reports at least once a year. I check mine at least twice a year just to make sure nothing is going on, just to make sure that things are the way that I remember them being. But that is the quickest and easiest way for you to find out if something is going on, because any type of new account, new loan that gets opened up in your name will be reported to the credit bureaus. All right, so you say, Steve, I'm already currently in trouble, or if I do get in trouble, what remedies do I have? You can alert the credit bureaus, of course, and put a fraud alert on all three credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. They will identify your account as a potential fraud so that if any activity happens, then they will flag it and let you know and hopefully be able to remove that off of your credit report. Of course, reviewing your credit report, as I said, that is the best way to avoid that. But in the event that you have something happen to you, definitely let the institution that fake account might be with and also the credit bureaus know so that they can put a fraud alert on both ends. File a report with law enforcement. There are divisions of law enforcement that do focus specifically on cyber crimes and identity theft and a lot of these scams that are going on. So just make sure that you identify, once you identify that the identity theft has happened to you, make sure to contact the proper law enforcement. Contact creditors and financial institutions and close any of the affected accounts. If you know you don't bank at Chase and you see that this person has a Chase card, immediately call them. Even if you do bank at Chase and you know you don't have a credit card, but they opened a Chase card in your name, contact them directly. Tell them to put a fraud alert on all your accounts just to make sure that they don't have access to anything. And dealing with debt collectors. Collect as much information from them and let them know that this is fraud, and also ask them what documentation they will need to prove this. Now, debt collectors are only doing, what specifically they are told to do. Sometimes they're very overzealous and use a lot of unscrupulous methods to get the debts that are owed to them. However, sometimes you'll get a debt collector call you trying to collect payment on an old card that you have no idea that had happened to you. So you want to make sure that you give them a call and you tell them, okay, hey, or if they call you, you say, hey, I have no idea about this. What do you need from me to show that? And get as much information from them as you can. So let's go to a quick commercial break right now. We need to get into a lot of those new scams and those telemarketer scams and con artists that I told you about. So we'll be right back.
Steve, I'm in big trouble. I need your help.
I got you. Don't worry, man. What do you need? At Goodman & McGill, we offer a wide variety of services catered directly to you. So come to us for whatever issue you have. We can definitely take care of it and offer you very fast and prompt communication and excellent service. That is our motto here at Goodman & McGill. Our services include family law, divorce, child custody, child support, name changes, business and contracts, estate planning, probate, traffic tickets, wills, trusts.
Thanks again, Steve.
No problem. Anytime. Anytime.
Yes, sir.
Here at Goodman & McGill, we take care of all of your legal issues. Check us out online at www.goodmanandmcgill.com. everybody. We're just going to dive right into it. We're talking telephone con artists and telemarketers now. Before we talked about identity theft, now we're going to go a little bit in detail as to the scams that you could be victim to. And a lot of scams that are going on that you maybe have no idea. But this is just to inform you so that you can tell a friend exactly what's going on so that everyone knows about these scams and it is less likely for you or a loved one or someone that you care about to fall victim to one of these scams. So, like I said before, senior citizens are often common targets of this. I know plenty of elderly people that have come to me and told me that this has happened, that they've had calls. Even my parents get calls saying that, oh, this is Microsoft, we're here to check your computer for viruses, or a lot of things that sound really legitimate, but they're not. So you have to be careful with these things. And if you know a senior citizen that often gets these calls, then I'm going to give you some of the things that you can do in order to report these things. So, types of scams that are going on. We have the foreign lottery sweepstakes, where you won a bunch of money or some kind of lottery or contest in another country, and you're entitled to all this money, but oftentimes they're going to tell you that you need to pay us a small sum of $1,000 for you to get 5 million euro, yen, whatever. That's a typical scam that is going on. So just make sure that if you have no business dealing with whatever country that you have won this lottery in, then you be able to identify that as a scam and avoid it. All right, home repair. So we just went through the winter storm a couple months back. A lot of times fake repair companies, fake contractors will come out to your home and say, hey, we want to do a check. We want to, repair this. We see that, your roof is a little dented from hail. We see that your yard needs this. Your shed needs this. Your garage needs that. Your windows need to be repaired. They will sign you up under contract, make you pay ahead of time, and then never show up and do the work. Or they do the work and it's terrible. They don't even do what they were supposed to do. This is very common because they target people that are in need, especially after a disaster. So, and of course, here in Houston, it floods, quite a bit. We rarely have, storms like the winter storm that we had, but just make sure if we go through anything like that again, that you be on the lookout for people that are doing this. Verify your information. That is basically a lot of what these phishing scams are, and sometimes they'll call you just to say, hey, can you verify your this is the fraud alert department with Google or Amazon. Can you verify your information? What is your social security number? What is your ID number? What is your address? They'll ask you all of this information without telling you exactly why they're asking for it. And if you know it's something that they shouldn't be asking about, then don't give them that information. And then, of course, investment scams. A lot of times they'll tell you about a great opportunity to invest in either a new product or a parcel of land, some type of building or real estate. They'll tell you that this is something where we need a certain amount of funds and then you're going to get a return. It could be a new business opportunity as well. It doesn't actually have to be, real estate related, but a lot of times they'll say, hey, you give us this much, you're going to get a rate of return of something crazy, 300% or something that's just, is too good to be true. Just make sure you're doing your due diligence on that and make sure that it's something that's legitimate. Those are probably the most legitimate looking scams, but if it's too good to be true, it probably is. I know that's a common saying, but it really is the best way for you to stay out of those types of scams. Warning signs. They contact you. They promise you a big reward. They want personal information, personal identifiable information that most companies won't ask you for. You have to pay them first. That is the biggest key. If there are a lot of things that they want to help you with, you shouldn't have to pay them first until they do it. Now, I know this doesn't operate in all industries because, especially for lawyers, you have to pay us first before we render services to you, and that's just the code and ethics of being a lawyer. But a lot of things that you are going to need to pay for typically you pay for it after the service or the product has been rendered to you. So if they ask you to pay for something first, like a foreign lottery scam or some email from some royalty stating that you got a bunch of money coming to you, usually they're going to ask you for some money. And you're thinking, well, I'm going to get this much money, which is way more than I'm paying, so let me just go ahead and pay it. I would not do that. Just definitely not anything that asks you to pay into it. It's probably a scam. And then a big thing, they ask you to wire the money instead of mailing it. Now, this is very easy for criminals if they get the money wire transfer. It's not as easily traced. You can give a fake identity to receive the funds. They can create fake accounts for these wires. If they're asking you to wire information, more than likely it's a scam. There are so many ways to transfer money in this world, in this country, that wire transfer is probably one of the least used ways for you to be able to do that. If they ask you to wire money, it's probably some type of scam. So you need to double check and verify that there's some other verifiable means of transferring money. So more ways to protect yourself. Don't be afraid to say no and hang up the phone. Con artists will not hesitate to take advantage of your good manners. Hang up immediately if the caller makes you feel uncomfortable or begins intimidation tactics. So if you're on a call with someone that's really pressuring you to do something, or they just keep asking the same question over and over, maybe they get a little rude, just hang up the phone. If it's something that is very important, they would try to give good customer service, and if they're not able to identify exactly what it is that you're doing this for or answer any of your questions, it's probably a scam. Just don't fall for it. Hang up the phone. Never judge a person's integrity by the sound of their voice. Con artists often sound quite professional and are very polite. They are extremely skilled liars and can be very convincing when they talk to you. This is, it's easier said than done to, find someone that for sure is telling the truth or being a liar, especially over the phone. And with these companies, they're trained to do good customer service. Both the legitimate companies and the con artists. They know that customer service is key. Having that friendly, approachable, calm demeanor is something that gets you to open up and give information. So they're going to try that as much as possible. Just make sure that you're on top of your P's and Q's. Know exactly what they're doing, and if they're asking for way too much information, then they should. If the company you're dealing with is Google and they're asking you for a social security number, it's probably red flag. You don't need your social to use any of Google's products. So just things like that you can help remember and just exercise that bit of caution. Beware of salespeople who prey on your fears. Con artists know that many seniors worry about outliving their savings. Con artists will play on these fears and will pitch their schemes as a sure way to build your savings so that such fears can be alleviated. Now, fear is something that makes a lot of people move. Fear is something that will get you to move if they find out exactly what you're afraid of. If you're afraid that you're going to die soon and you have life insurance, or maybe you're looking for life insurance and you've been putting it off, but this company all of a sudden calls you and they say, hey, we need all this information. You want to make sure you get life insurance because you don't want to get hit by a bus or something, and they're pressuring you. They're kind of playing on those fears and giving you that dread that you've always hated. If they take you down that dark path, it's probably a scam. A lot of companies, especially life insurance companies, will tell you the benefits of doing so and what perks there are to have life insurance. Not saying that the criminals won't, but it's just one of those things that criminals will use is they'll try to play on your fears of whatever you're afraid is going to happen. So make sure you're very cognizant of that. Hang up immediately if the caller makes you feel uncomfortable or begins intimidation tactics. Never let someone bully you into giving them your personal information or money. Very simple, just hang up on them. If you feel offended by what they're saying, you probably already do this on a daily basis to friends and family anyway, or people you don't like, your boss, your coworker that calls you. It's no different from when someone is on the line, on your phone, harassing you, trying to bully you into your information or your financial information or your social security number. If you feel pressured, just hang up the phone. Check out businesses and charities that contact you for money by contacting the Better Business Bureau. To locate your Better Business Bureau, visit www.bbb.org. A lot of companies can be verified through the Better Business Bureau. That's what they're there for, to make sure that you're dealing with a verified company. So if you're questioning who this company is and they say that they are Apple Tech Care, well, you want to go and you want to check out, exactly what this company says they are. I mean, they're going to give you some type of name that makes it sound like they're legitimate. Make sure to look them up with the Better Business Bureau or just Google them. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. And then lastly, timely, up-to-date information about the latest scams, schemes, and other crimes that target seniors can be a powerful protective weapon. Educate yourself to avoid becoming a victim. Subscribe online with the Texas Attorney General's office at www.oag.state.tx.us and click on email subscriptions to receive free email alerts regarding the latest scams targeting Texas seniors, or put your name on their hard copy mailing list by calling 1-800-252-8011, and this is for residents of Texas. So if you want to know exactly about all the scams, you want to make sure that you're on top of everything that's going on, the Attorney General's office does a good job of disseminating it, giving that information out to everyone to inform everybody about exactly what's going on so that you're protected and you're knowledgeable about ways that you can protect yourself. So we're going to take one more commercial break. I know you're like, Steve, I want more knowledge, but I mean, hey, we're getting to the end of our show here. Hopefully you have learned quite a bit about these identity theft activities, about a lot of these scams. Hopefully you can share this video with a friend, with a relative that you know that may be susceptible to these scams, and hopefully you can help someone. So, quick commercial break. We will be right back. This is Lori Up with Steve-O, and we're at the end of our show. Hopefully you learned quite a bit about identity theft and scams. Have just a little bit of information to give you. Of course, my contact information so that you can contact me in case you have any questions. Give me feedback about the show. If you want to end up on the show, definitely feel free to reach out to me with the contact information that I'm going to give you. But one of the things that I like to do with the show is not only highlight a lot of the good that's happening, but also the bad, just to let you guys know what's going on. And hopefully you can be more aware of your surroundings and help out with the efforts. And what am I talking about? We have a woman by the name of Erica Hernandez that was kidnapped the other day. Last seen on April 18th. She's a mother of 3. She's 40 years old. The last time she was seen was in a vehicle, a 2020 GMC Acadia. So if you have any information about this, if you're driving down the road, you see a GMC Acadia that looks newer, just report it, contact the HPD Missing Persons Unit at 832-392-1840 or Texas Equus Search, which is 281-309-9500. They do offer a reward for any information leading to where Ms. Hernandez can be found. Terrible thing that has happened. It's someone that I know close to me that has happened to her friend. So please, please, please make sure you keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled. If you know anyone that has seen this vehicle or seen her, please contact one of these numbers so that hopefully Ms. Hernandez can be found. All right, so like I was saying with my other show, if you watch my last show, I'm putting together a legal counsel for the American Caribbean Chamber of Commerce. I'm looking for a few good lawyers with their expertise in different fields to join me on this council. So if you're interested, I can give you all the details. Feel free to contact me as soon as possible. Or if you know someone that might qualify for this and they might want to get a lot more leads and a lot more customers that are here in the Fort Bend and Harris County area, definitely feel free to contact me. And you're like, Steve, how can you contact me? You can contact me by email at contact@goodmanmcgill.com. Phone number is 833-529-9748. My website is www.goodmanmcgill.com. You can also reach me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So you have all the different ways to contact me, so you don't have any excuse. Definitely feel free to reach out to me with any questions. If you need legal advice, if you need legal representation, or if you just want to give me any feedback about the show, or if you want to end up on the show, like I said before, make sure to reach out to me. And remember, when life gets you down, remember to lawyer up. Have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you next Friday. Tune into the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, lawyer up.